Please help me welcome to the stage Sean McKenzie, everybody. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you so much. Okay, San Jose. Who here is from San Jose? All right, let me inform you. That's what it is. Next slide, please. The fact that the fourth word doesn't show up scares the shit out of me. It should say right here, why is it shitty? But we'll see what happens. I'm concerned about, have you been to San Jose? And it's been real shitty, right? Yeah. There's nothing there! Why is there nothing there? Next slide, please. Why? Why? San Francisco and Oakland are amongst the great cities in the world. San Jose is shitty. Why? I ask you why. Next slide, please. It is. It is. Those of you that were born and raised and are saying San Jose doesn't exist, it touches the water. It touches the water. Fuck you! All right, next slide, please. Historically, we need to understand, all right? Why are we here? Our grandparents fucked in a place, in a room, and that led us to us, okay?
San Jose Sharks, man!
That's really sweet that you care so much about a team that will never win. It'll never win! Why? Because San Jose will never win. Next slide, please. San Jose is named after St. Joseph. Next slide, please. Come on! How is that a saint? Next slide, please. Clearly, everybody else had miracles. His miracle, he didn't get upset. How is that? Next slide, please. Ooh, it was the first capital of the state of California. It sure was. Next slide, please. Yeah, that's why it was. It should have been San Francisco or LA, but it wasn't. They said, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. All right, San Jose. Next slide, please. Yeah, they weren't awesome. They pretended. They had muddy roads. They had nothing. Next slide, please. They weren't. Next slide, please. They did. By the way, this is a sweet... you guys are in a relationship. This is an important lesson on compromise, okay? The capital of California could be in San Francisco or LA, but they hated each other. So they refused to get along. And so first it was San Jose. Next slide. To Benicia. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, that's how it works. You disagree, and then you end up having your capital be Sacramento. Go fuck yourselves. Next slide, please. Yeah, the first capital of California. There wasn't. All right, make some noise if you're from a small town. Yeah. Make some noise if you got fucked up in that small town. Yeah, that's how it works. You're not going to do shit. Next slide, please. Became known as the legislature of 1,000 drinks. I'm sorry, I want to say 10. That's how it ended. The chair, he had like the wooden, like the thing, like the gavel, the hammer, the wooden hammer. And he said like, let's have a drink. Let's have 1,000 drinks. That's how we passed all of the laws. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next slide, please. How is state government worked out in San Jose? Are you guys new? Don't worry about it. I don't want to attack you for being new to California. I don't want to. It does. The drunken spirit of San Jose lives on. Next slide, please. You think Trump is new? Trump has existed for 150 years. San Jose burned Chinatown to the ground. Ooh, it's getting uncomfortable. Does it feel real? Next slide, please. All right, I was super high when I made this slide project, and I did it in the wrong order. Let's probably go like 2 ahead. Oh, the electric light tower. Let's stop here. This is one of my favorite things. All right? San Jose started as a legislature of 1,000 drinks. All right? And it never stopped. It was a drunk idea all the way through. And one time, all right, check it out. We were here in the modern day, and people were trying to come up with some stupid app that explains blah, blah, blah. Back then, in the 1800s, they had a wide open field. The idea of an app didn't exist. They were coming up with the craziest shit. And one of the things they came up with, clearly a drunken idea, clearly an extension of the legislature of 1,000 drinks, they said, all right, we got a bunch of gas lights all along the street. Fuck it. Let's put one big light at the very top of the city. They forgot about shadows and the dissipation of light. Next slide, please. That's a half-scale model. Next slide, please. The original fell down. Are you curious why? Next slide, please. They just painted over rust. They forgot about shadows. They thought they could just put one big light over everything. Next slide, please. I realize how fucked up I am and that this was supposed to come out one after the other, after the other, after the other. But I will say, they did place the first tracks along onion fields because they hoped people would just like, ooh, if light rail is there. And then they were faced with a difficult question. Do you put light rail underground? Do you put it above ground? How do you figure it out? Next slide, please. They put it on the sidewalk. That's San Jose's solution. Once a year, an old Chinese person dies.
Yeah, fuck the people.
Is that too upsetting? No, for real though. It's on the sidewalk, and every once in a while, a person just drives their car onto the sidewalk. It's really entertaining. If you ever go down to San Jose, just post up on this corner and just watch. Next slide, please. San Jose was a town of drunk big ideas, all right? There was the big light up above everything. There was the light rail on the sidewalk. They had different ideas. All of a sudden they said, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want fun. Next slide. We want conventions. We want shitty guys from Tallahassee to come here and fuck hookers. Next slide, please. They got so anti-fun in the New Year's Eve from 99 to 2000, the big odometer rollover. They didn't have a party. They just said, all right, at 6 p.m., let's end the festivities so everyone could go home and enjoy the New Year's Eve with their family. Fuck you, San Jose. Next slide, please. Fuck you, San Jose. Next slide, please. Fuck you, San Jose. Next slide, please. I'm sorry. Next slide, please. You've given me so much. You've given me the greatest taquerias. You've given me Filipino barbecue joints. You've given me crazy people on light rail shouting at me that their eggs are fucking valid. I don't know what that means, but I appreciate it. Next slide, please. I love you so much, San Jose. I want to hate you, but I can't. Next slide, please. I love you so much! Thank you guys very much. Good night.